You're stuck, encased in a warm, moist, fluffy material, and then boom! You use the tiny egg tooth, your only Christmas present, to break through the shell and pierce the wall of your prison. Congratulations! You have just been born, and your first sight is absolute darkness. Their first meal is, most likely, their own litter mix. Welcome to the world of the Nile Monitor Lizard, Varanus niloticus, where brotherhood is a cold meal, maternal protection is a cruel joke, and your life is a constant race of escape. You are not born, you hatch into a biological trap. His mother, the 2-meter-long female, did not dig a safe nest in the sand. Instead, she used her cold reptilian wits to deposit you and more than 60 eggs directly into the heart of an active, gigantic termite mound. She sealed the entrance with a viscous material and moved on. She won't come back, and she doesn't know you. You are a biological time bomb left in the enemy's lair. Your first and most urgent lesson is, eat or be eaten. Even if it is by the one who has just shared the birth, life is a zero-sum game from the first second of your new world. The smell of earth, crushed termites, and the tension of chemical competition between eggs is their childhood aroma. His prison, the termite nest, is a brilliant idea of his mother and his condemnation. Its existence becomes an immediate, microscopic war, where the air is muffled and the only sound is the frantic chewing and aggressive defense of termites. The nest is full of soldier termites, who are furious at the invasion. They bite and inject corrosive secretions. You're constantly attacking dozens of enemies just to survive, barely having time to breathe or think. The temperature is suffocating, but it is this same temperature, generated by the metabolic activity of termites, that ensures that you and your siblings develop quickly in the exact time to escape. Your mother, as perverse logic, is relentless. You were left here because termites are your first source of food, almost endless, and ready for consumption. A shot of protein to get you to grow as much as possible before your death rush. You spend the first few days frantically devouring them to strengthen yourself and have a minimum chance of survival. But the competition is not just with the insects, it is with his brothers. The scarcity of space, panic, and the newly activated predatory instinct make the larger puppies not hesitate to attack and devour the smaller or weaker ones. Its first act of force is an act of cannibalism, a natural preselection performed on the artificial womb of the termite mother. Its shelf life in the nest is short and brutal. The termite mound, now invaded by predatory reptiles, begins to crumble. The rains come, the fragile structure falls apart, and if you take a second longer, you'll be crushed by the earth or the millions of termites trying to seal the passages in a desperate defense. You need to get out. Using your claws and your pointed snout, you fight your way in. It is a frantic climb towards the light, where the prize is freedom. But the punishment is a mortality that is close to 95% for his entire litter. You dig until your claws hurt, until your muscles burn, and you only stop when you feel the fresh and dangerous surface air on your snout. By the time you finally emerge from the ground and crawl to the surface, you have about 25 inches of pure paranoia and muscle. You are a predator, but the Nile Monitor Lizard has the misfortune of being, in childhood, the favorite food of absolutely everything. You're a small meat machine, and everyone wants you. His adult life will be that of a crocodile egg hunter, but his childhood is that of a snack for anyone with wings, beak, or teeth. You don't have the protection of a pack, a nest, or a clan. Their survival is an exercise in solitude and vigilance. The list of those who want to devour you is long and terrible. You hide from the shadow of a vulture, which is a sign of certain death. You run away from snakes, who see you as an easy and nutritious meal. You should fear other monitors, as cannibalism is an honorable tradition, especially in times of scarcity. And ironically, you should avoid your father, the adult, as adult males are opportunistic predators and will not hesitate to make a quick meal out of you if the opportunity arises. Every move is calculated, every shadow is a threat, and silence is your state of high alert. Your only defense against this constant threat is sheer speed, aquatic agility, and paranoia. You run incessantly, living in the dense bushes and water. You are semi-aquatic, and the Nile River, which gives its species its name, is both your hunting ground and your vital hiding place. You can remain submerged for long periods, using the muddy bottom to camouflage yourself from the danger lurking on the banks. But even in the water, you should be vigilant with large fish, juvenile crocodiles, and water-drinking mammals. The world teaches you to distrust everyone, and trust zero. However, you have a desperate final maneuver, your master card Thanatosis, that is, playing dead. When the threat is imminent and escape is impossible, you fall on your side, close your eyes, and completely relax your body. You have to hope that the predator or the human who captured you gets distracted and releases you, thinking that you are just a useless carcass. It's a desperate bet against biology, but its last chance to cheat death with its own inertia. When you grow up a little, you become the terror of the nests of other reptiles and birds. The adult Nile Monitor lizard is famous for having an exquisite taste for crocodile eggs, and this is its great contribution to the ecosystem, although it is the source of its greatest risk. You develop a cold social cunning, a type of cooperation that is rare in the reptilian world and purely motivated by self-interest. Nile monitors have been observed to hunt crocodile eggs in pairs, a primitive form of temporary high-risk alliance. This collaboration is a masterpiece of greed and mutual exploitation, a lesson in cynical diplomacy. The alliance is simple, but deadly. A monitor, the distractor, approaches the female crocodile, who is watching over her nest, and attracts her attention with quick, aggressive movements. It should be fast enough to be threatening, but not so slow that it is captured. The crocodile, faithful to its nest and enraged, chases the distractor away in a frantic struggle. Meanwhile, the other monitor, the marauder, rushes to the nest, digs quickly, and devours as many eggs as he can before the distractor, having narrowly escaped death, returns to share the feast. It is a high-risk partnership where trust is non-existent. There is no friendship. There is only a temporary alliance focused on stealing the most dangerous food in the savannah. Your whole life is spent stealing, cheating, and being robbed. You can never fully trust your partner, as the Nile monitor is an opportunistic predator, and the fair division of loot is often decided by physical strength and who can swallow the fastest. The slightest mistake of the destriator means his death. The slightest mistake of the marauder means that the feast ends. If you're lucky and fast enough to survive the first few years, you reach adulthood. You become big, up to 2 meters long, and earn the dreaded reputation that your name carries. His diet changes, and his brutality becomes legendary. You eat everything from fish and birds to rodents and giant snails. Its main tool is not venom, but its potent bite and muscular neck. You are able to violently shake the prey to dismember it or to crush hard shells such as those of large African snails. Its saliva contains septic bacteria that ensures that even if the prey escapes, it succumbs to the infection days later. As a male, you spend your life fighting rivals for the right to mate. These fights are not only aggressive, are a brute force spectacle, where the lizards stand up on their hind legs in a reptilian wrestling pose and try to knock each other down. The loser is humiliated and often banished from the wealthiest hunting grounds, forced into a life of scarcity and loneliness. As a female, the cycle of hypocrisy closes when mating. You dig a hole, but then, in an act of evolutionary laziness and cold intelligence, you actively seek out a termite nest to lay your eggs in. You abandon your children to darkness, termite danger, and the inevitable fratricide, perpetuating the cycle of violence and loneliness that nearly killed you. You become the absent and cruel mother who feared you so much and who abandoned you years ago. The trauma of his childhood becomes the cold tradition of his species. Their only contribution to life is to ensure that the next generation suffers the same ordeal. The fate of the Nile monitor lizard that survives everything is chronic paranoia. You never feel safe. You're constantly vigilant, your forked tongue sampling the air for chemical clues of danger. The sturdy, long body becomes a burden. You age by becoming slower, and your speed is your only defense. You can't run that fast, you can't swim that stealthy, and the crocodile's shadow is bigger than ever. The fear that drove you in your youth becomes the weight that drags you in old age. Hunters become bolder, and the predators you once dominated now pose a real threat. You move away from the rich hunting grounds to hide in dark holes. In the end, thanatosis, the farce of playing dead, can become a reality. You can be found on a rock, your body limp and immobile, no longer by strategy, but by exhaustion. His death will not be noble, but the result of a life of constant fear, brutal fights, dangerous thefts, and eternal revenge against his brothers and against the eggs of other species. You are a survivor who emerged from a termite nursery only to become an egg thief, living a life of loneliness and violence, always on the run from your own fate. Next time you see this majestic but terrifying reptile, remember, it sucks to be born Nile Monitor Lizard, but at least you've lived long enough to perpetuate the cruelty,